Grab your drinks and have a seat. It's time for Serial Killers.
Welcome.
Hello.
Hi. Happy 100th
100.
episode. Yeah, we've done 100 episodes. This is our 100th episode.
So if you listened last week, you'll kind of know a little bit about what we are doing this week.
Correct.
And what that is we don't have a specific serial killer we are going to be talking about, but we are going to be talking about the ones that we liked and the ones that we disliked over the last 50 episodes.
Yeah, not over the last 100, but over the last 50, because that's a new thing we're going to do. Every 50 episodes, we're going to kind of do a little recap and a reminiscentness of whatever you want to call it, of what we have done. And I want to start this off by saying I'm T.
And I'm Jay.
And if you've been listening for a while, you know that we're here to tell you stories about serial
Killer.
killers. So rude. So rude. But we are here to talk about episodes. This is kind of like, when I was growing up and I used to watch any TV show ever, they would always have that one episode where it was like recapping previous episodes. And I'm like, why the fuck would they do? I get it now. I get it now, because it's one less episode I have to research, but also we talk about serial killers every single week. And sometimes it's fun to go back and just kind of say, hey, this is what we liked. I mean, 50 episodes is almost a full year,
And it
we
gives
put one out every single week. So it's like after a year of doing these episodes, it's kind of nice to be like, hey.
And it gives your brain a break.
It gives me a break. And also, not a lie, it makes me test Jay, because Jay actually has homework for these episodes. He actually has to go back and review our 50 episodes and figure out which one he liked the most, which one he liked the least, and why he liked them and didn't like them. So it also...
Well, it's easy to say I don't like them because they're serial killers.
It's got to be more than that. You can't just be like, no, I don't like them.
Well, I definitely have a couple to talk about, and I have specific reasons why.
Which is what I like. I like to do it, and I do the same thing on Crime Bitches with Sierra, because, again, I do all the research for the podcast, which I love. I do love it. But sometimes, like Jay said, I need a little bit of a break sometimes, and also I got other things in my life going on other than just researching podcasts, because if it was that easy, I'd have a million podcasts sitting in a bank right now.
Right.
Not a bank like Money Bank, but like a bank like waiting to be talked about. And I don't, because I have other things that go on. Researching takes quite some time. So that is what our episode is about this week.
But there are things we're still going to keep the same. Like,
correct.
What are you drinking?
Correct. So we'll start it off like usual. What am I drinking? Or what are you drinking? Well, I'll start. I am drinking a plain old cup of coffee, plain old cup of Joe. It is a Nespresso Cafe Joy. Okay, I don't know if it's Joy. It's JOYEUX, I think is how it's spelled. And I have one stevia and some coconut creamer in my coffee.
Which reminds me, we have to order our
Yes, we
coffee.
do. I was planning
Or
on...
these podcasts will be boring.
Well, we only have 3 pods left, so that's not going to get us very far, consider we both have coffee every morning at least. Somebody in this room continues to have 2 coffees a day.
No, I do not. I drink a coffee and then I have a tea.
Bitch. You literally just had 2 coffees the other day.
Yeah, and then before that, it's been like, I don't know, since before we ordered this, because I can't do it with my stomach. I do a tea.
I can tell you right now, had you not had your double cup day, we'd have enough Nespresso pods for 2 days of coffee, and now we don't. So that sucks.
You just better hope on the second day it comes before you get up, because I have enough to get me through 2 days.
I mean, I have I have Nespresso pods that I can use. It's just I normally use them for iced coffee, so I'll just have to make myself iced coffee
We'll
instead.
figure it out.
We always do.
But I'm not drinking a coffee. I'm not drinking anything like that. I'm drinking a water with Crystal Light in it because I don't like the taste of water. But I have
He
to
really
have it.
doesn't. Y'all, he does not. First of all, he does not drink water unless it has flavor in it.
And I'm on medications that are like, hey, you should probably drink water if you're going to take this medication. I'm like, nah.
To be fair, though, drinking coffee and tea also gives you water
They
content.
have water in it.
They do. No, seriously, it does count
Beer,
towards water.
Got water in it.
They really do. They say that when you're drinking water, your water content counts with coffee and tea, but you don't get the electrolytes.
And I still don't get enough.
No, well.
So, not like your son who's putting down like gallons a day.
I mean,
so
nobody should be drinking that much water, I don't think, but whatever.
Well, but yeah, so that's what I'm drinking, just trying to get my intake of water. So, there it is.
I mean, most people would just drink water. You know, you don't need to try. You just drink it, but he really can't drink just water. Like, genuinely.
Not me.
He needs to figure it out. Because the Crystal Light also isn't that great for you either. So it's like you got to figure it out.
It's just the way it is. Slap me with an IV. Get it in there. I even do the IVs, but
liquid IV.
Yeah, some of those.
That makes the water thick.
Yeah, but it's good to take a break from them for a while.
Your best way of getting electrolyte and water and like re-nourishing your muscles and stuff is water.
I wish you could just soak it in through your skin.
You might be able to go sit in a tub for a hot minute, see what happens. I don't know.
Get my water intake that way.
It's bizarre to me because I love water. Like, I love ice cold water. I don't need anything in it. As a matter of fact, I don't.
She's missing one word in there. What word are you missing? You love ice cold water.
Yeah.
Ice cold filtered water. Because this is also the girl who was choking, and I tried to get her a glass of water out of the sink, and she said, no, the filtered.
Yeah, because there are so many chemicals in our water.
But you were dying.
I'm going to die if I drink the water. Are you
It's just fluoride. It's not bad for you.
It is not just fluoride. That bitch has bleach in it. Bleach and all kinds of other shit. Never mind the fact that our reservoirs are open and people pee in them. Like, no, thank you.
So if you tune into our conspiracy theory podcast we have starting up.
Anyways, we're not here to tell you all about our water intake. But I'm going to finish this segment off by saying, drink your water. It'll make you better.
H2O is better.
It's better for you. Or go to Disney and you can see the O2H. That's fine too. Okay.
But you can't drink it.
You can't drink it. That'd be gross.
All right. So let's kick this thing off. And because it's your idea, you get to go first.
Okay. Do you want to...
And just for the record, for people who are paying attention, when we go back 50 episodes, that's back to Joseph Christopher. So if you think back or if you look back and look at our episodes and you want to maybe find the ones that we're going to talk about, it goes back to that point. So Joseph Christopher was number 50, Albert Fish 51, and so on and so forth. So as we talk about this, we'll say the episode number in case you want to go back and listen to it.
Okay, do you want to start with who we are favorite for the last 50 episodes or our least favorite?
Doesn't matter to me.
I feel like we should start with our least favorite so that we can end the podcast off on a positive note. If we do our favorites, maybe, right? Okay, so I'll start. My least favorite episode. For any of you who have been listening this whole time, because I know we have some of you. I know we do. So if you might even be able to guess which one my least favorite episode was. But my least favorite episode for the last 50 episodes was episode 51, which was Albert Fish. And here's why. It was very hard to research. Albert Fish was a very hard person to research, to learn about, to keep all that shit in my brain, to read the letters that he wrote. It was all a lot. It was hard to talk about. This is, if you all remember, I did Albert Fish research, and then I told you all in that episode, I actually did not record it right away because I needed to not do it. I had to take a fucking step back for a second to be able to let my brain relax. It was a hard episode. If you don't remember who Albert Fish is, I'll give you a little recap. Albert Fish was a man who had murdered children. Okay. He had murdered children. He was a terrible fucking human being. And then he actually wrote letters. He wrote a letter actually that detailed what he did. And I read the letter and then I refused to read it to you guys because it is so bad. And then I shared with Jay afterwards. I read the letter to Jay. I made him listen because I had to tell somebody, but I couldn't subject you guys to that. And he even said, like, no, I'm glad you didn't read that.
Albert Fish was a nasty MFer.
And so that is my least favorite episode was Albert Fish. And also he's gross looking. If you have not seen, if you follow us on TikTok or Instagram, or even Facebook, but the TikTok and Instagram, it's easier to find. TikTok is the easiest because it's all right there. If you scroll down to because TikTok has the name of the serial killer covering their faces. So you would literally be able to scroll through. But if you find Albert Fish and then click on him, he's a creepy motherfucker.
Yep. He
So,
is. Episode 51. He's wrinkly. He's old. He's just,
He is.
he looks like somebody you would, if he was walking in your neighborhood, you'd be keeping an eye on him.
Yeah, you would.
He just kind of gives that vibe. He almost looks like, as I'm looking at a picture of him right now, what jumped into my head is for the people who
I already know. I feel like I know what you're going to say.
who watch Home Alone. He
Oh my
looks
God!
like the neighbor
Holy
in Home
shit!
Alone
That's not who I thought you were going to say, and you are so right.
that they thought he was a killer, but he
you
wasn't.
are so
That's
right.
who he looks like.
Take that picture, turn it like into a color picture, not black and white. That is totally him. That is not who I thought you were going to say.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you were going to say that he reminds you of the pharmacist on It's a Wonderful Life.
That's definitely another one for sure.
But no.
No, he looks like the pharmacist when he comes back and nobody remembers him. And
That's
he's
what
the
I'm
drunk
saying.
old
That's
man.
what I'm saying.
That's what he looks like. But he
He's
definitely
like a dead ringer for the guy
you throw a
from
shovel
Home Alone.
on him and some
You are
boots.
so right.
Yeah.
Home Alone's ruined for the rest of my life. Oh my.
It just became even scarier.
Because he
But he's a nice guy.
Oh my.
In Home Alone.
Really? Okay, Albert Fish pretended to be a nice guy too and then killed the children.
But he stopped the wet bandits
For a
and
hot
reached
minute.
out.
And how do you know he doesn't become friends with Kevin to the point where Kevin starts going over to his house to help him out and then he fucking slaughters him
Well, his
and then writes a letter about it?
son came over and they didn't get slaughtered, and he
But
just
that's
seems
his son. That's
right.
different.
He seems like a nice guy. Oh, and by the
Oh,
way,
no.
his name is not Albert Fish, so that's probably why it
owned.
wouldn't happen.
I'm telling you, you ruined Home Alone for me forever. Because now every time I see Home Alone, I'm like, it's Albert Fish, and oh my, that's all I'm going to think of.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
What do you think I've been thinking of since episode 51?
He really does. That's crazy. What date was that posted? Like when was that? Roundabout.
March of 2025.
Okay, so think that's how far back our episodes went for this, right? We're looking at the beginning of March of last year.
Well,
And
you figure, which is weird, February. Actually,
that's
so
not
that was March 20th. So March 13th would have been 50. So
I mean, it's not actually March 13th though, because I always post these a couple of days after.
right.
But it would have been in the beginning of March. It
Right.
would have been our 50th, starting at the 50th episode. So we're going all the way back to last year, and like the beginning of last year. So that's how much Albert Fish had an impact on me. Because do you know when I said, let's talk about our least and our favorite? I was racking my brain and I was like, well, I got to see how far back 50 episodes in is. And so I'm starting to scroll back because I already knew there's a different one that I would have used for my least favorite, but he's in our first 50 episodes. So I was like, our first 49. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to use him. And so I was like, okay. And I saw Albert Fish and I was like, oh, fuck yeah. Like Albert Fish haunts me to this day. I genuinely hate myself for doing that episode. I literally do. I hate myself for researching it. I hate myself for putting it out there. I hate myself for subjecting people to it because it's that bad.
And the worst part is he's probably not the worst one we'll do.
I think he is. And the reason I say that is because I don't think I'll do people that are worse than him. I refuse to do the Toy Box Killers.
No, hell no.
For the same reason. The Toy Box Killer is literally the worst serial killer I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
And I will not do it. And I will not do it because mentally I can't. physically I get sick from his crimes, and I don't want to subject people to it. I don't want to subject people who have been victims of him, and I don't want to subject your ears to it because it's not a good story. If you want to know about the toy box killer, go look it up. Within fucking 5 minutes, you're going to be like, never mind, because he's that terrible of a person. So I think Albert Fish is the extent of how bad of a person I would do. And I regret doing him. I shouldn't have done him for my own mental sake because his crimes bother me so much. And I hate him with every part of my soul.
So as we get into mine, I have a couple of honorable mentions.
I have one runner up too. So we can do that in a minute. But
I'll say why. So like there was one guy that I was on the fence of either he was my favorite or my least favorite, and I'll explain why. So Ed Gein, right?
Fucking Ed Gein.
He was going to be, like, I started thinking, like, this could be, as I'm scrolling through, this could be, like, a favorite. But then I was like, no, because the fucking show ruined it, and that's all I can think about. So then he was going to become my least favorite because of the show.
Okay, I just have to side note, and I will not go into it. The Ed Gein Monsters on Netflix. They have Monsters on Netflix. It's an Ed Gein. They also have the Menendez brothers, and they have a Jeffrey Dahmer one. We watched the Ed Gein one purposely because we have done Ed Gein. And the disappointment I had in that TV show, I was so pissed off at the end of it. Like 90% of the shit in there is not accurate. Especially his voice. And that bothered me more than anything was the voice they used, because that is not how Ed Gein sounded.
And I love the actor.
Oh, I know. I do too.
Like
he had to do the character for himself. But they made Ed Gein seem like he was disabled and he didn't know right from wrong and he wasn't purposely killing. No, the fuck he was. He was schizophrenic and had problems, but he absolutely knew what he was doing was killing people. And they tried to, by the end of it, you almost feel bad for him. I was so angered by that show that I actually decided I'm not watching the other two monster seasons without doing my research first.
Yeah, I'll probably watch the next one because it's the lady.
Oh, I'll watch the next one because the next one is Lizzie Borden.
Yeah,
Lizzie Borden, I did an episode of Lizzie Borden on Crime Bitches. So I'm only going to watch those episodes if I have done the research, because they Hollywoodized that so much and it really, really irritated me. And I was kept bitching about it. And Jay and I were looking at reviews, and you could see that people who follow true crime were pissed.
Yeah, they were disappointed.
They were like, this is so not, because you expected it to be a little bit more realistic, right?
Now,
a little bit more documentary style, and it was not.
Yeah, are there points that are accurate? Absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
But you need to do your research to understand what is accurate and what's not, because if you don't, you'll walk away from the show thinking all this stuff, which isn't true.
Yeah. So anyways, we'll get into more of that shit at another time.
Yeah.
But anyways.
So the second runner-up, because I was specifically looking for, and I couldn't remember the name, it's a couple. And the first one I hit was Ray and Faye Copeland.
Yeah.
And I was like,
they were the farmers.
Yeah, this is the one. But it wasn't.
I know who the fuck you talking
about.
I
know you know exactly who I'm talking about. And the reason why I'm tagging a couple as my least favorite, because it sits with me.
So this is your least favorite?
No, Ray and Faye is not.
No, I'm saying the one you're talking about.
This is my least favorite.
Okay.
But Ray and Faye are definitely there because they're a couple, but it wasn't the couple I was looking for. The ones I was looking for are Fred and Rosemary West.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right now. That was my runner-up. Fred and Rosemary West is my runner-up. Had Alfred not been 51, Fred and Rosemary would have been my least favorite.
Yeah,
why?
And for me, the reason why is because of what he did. So this doesn't go back as far. This is going to be episode 95. So we just recently did them. He just looks like a sleazeball with a gap in his teeth.
He totally does.
But the reason why for me is because being a married couple and being a father and being around with our daughter and son, being in sports, having friends, and being around those younger age adults, to take advantage of that and do what he did, it just sits with me. It disgusts me being a parent, being a father, being a man.
if you,
I mean, all these guys disgust me. Don't get me wrong, but
if you haven't listened to that, what'd you say it was episode what 95?
95.
If you haven't listened to episode 95 of Fred and Rosemary West, a really quick recap is Fred and Rosemary West. They had, what was it, 7 children, I think,
Mhm.
and Fred would sexually molest his daughters once they hit the age of 8, and he actually does end up killing his own daughter. He and buries her under his patio.
Yeah, in the front.
And Rosemary also kills Fred's daughter because Fred has children from a different marriage. Rosemary ends up killing one of his daughters as well, and he does also bury that body. But they did kill multiple people, and they most definitely sexually assaulted not just children, people, because Rosemary was a prostitute and they had a prostitution room in their house. There was a lot of really bad things that happened in that house, and it was in England. And Fred tried to take the blame for all of it, but it didn't work out. Rosemary got charged too. So that's why I understand, because when it comes to
being a parent, like,
Yeah.
you're supposed to be raising and taking care of your children,
And
not
you
taking
protect
advantage
them.
of your children.
yeah,
And I think that's what pisses me off the most. If I feel like this is very true. If I ever met somebody or was in jail and somebody said this is what I did, I'd fuck them up.
you know,
I don't know if I'd be able to help myself.
Jay and I just had this conversation not too long ago that he told me, and I giggled because if you ever met Jay outside in the real world, he's a very laid back guy.
I'm chill.
He's very laid back. It takes a lot to make him mad. I am the hot tempered fucking. I'm sure you can tell. I'm a hot tempered person. I get angry and I hold grudges for the rest of your life. If you wrong me, you're dead to me. Period, point blank. I'll never forgive you. Whereas Jay,
Yep.
he's got like he's got that Italian hot, quick temper. And then after like 5 minutes, he's like,
I have
let's
the
go.
Italian hot, quick temper, but like with a case of dementia, because I completely forget what you've done, and I'm like, I'm over it.
Yeah, well, and he'll cut, like, it drives me crazy because we'll get into an argument and he'll snap, like, not ever does he snap.
I
Genuinely.
get sarcastic.
He gets sarcastic, but I mean, he's like, does not ever raise his voice to me. And it's just like, you can always tell when he's mad. He'll get sarcastic, say some shitty remark, which then to me, I'm like, dude, fuck you. I have nothing to say to you anymore. And then like 2 seconds later, he's like, hey, do you want to go get lunch? And I'm like, no, the
hungry.
fuck. Like, no, the fuck.
But then
We're
I'll
still fighting.
Yeah, she'll be like, I'm upset, and I'm like, is that helping? Like,
But-
being upset for this long, does that help you? Like, I don't understand it.
If you knew him outside of podcasting, he is the most chill person. And he said to me the other day, he said, I've come to the realization that not very many things make me very mad. And I said, no, I agree with that. And he goes, but I do think pedophiles are one that I just can't control myself.
Yep.
And I was like, hey, listen, that's fair. Like, that's a fair ass assumption.
If I
Like,
see
that's
like an
totally
older
fine.
guy checking out a underage girl or just any of that stuff, I will definitely say something. I
Yeah,
will
it's
pop
not.
off.
It's
It is
not. So it's interesting to. I mean, it's not interesting.
When
It's-
when I coached our daughter's softball team and helped coach those teams, I was very protective of those girls, like they were my own girls.
I am just saying, I am not shocked by that being your least favorite episode
Yeah.
because Fred West is the equivalent to a nightmare for a child.
100%.
Your as a father figure, he was a nightmare for those children. So I can completely understand why that was your least favorite.
Yeah. No, not.
Which
Not
is
happy
funny
about
because,
it.
like I said, that was my runner-up of like, oh, by the way, if Albert Fish was not 51, it would have been Fred and Rosemary West.
Yep.
Okay, so moving on to my most favorite.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting when you hear my most favorite of why it's my most favorite. Because to be honest with you, none of these are my favorite because they're all serial killers.
Okay, let me clarify. When I say favorite, I am not saying like, oh, we like the guy. I'm saying, what is your most favorite episode we had and why?
Right.
What caused you to have this be your most favorite episode? I would be even willing to, if you were to say, oh, my most favorite episode was episode 55 because in that one we laughed and joked so much that, like, I don't care if that's the reason. I just think I think of serial killers differently than you do.
You absolutely do. They're not my friend. No, I'm just kidding.
They're not my
No, I
friends
know.
either.
I know. I'm just saying, like, no, and yeah, when we say favorite episode, once I get into why, I think you'll agree with me of why I chose it. You might not say, yes, that's my favorite too, or that was up there. But once I say it, it'll make sense.
So do you want to start on this one?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. So I'm sorry. Y'all already know my favorite. I there's no fucking way that if you haven't been listening to me that you don't know which one my favorite is. Because I literally just said it. Like, I literally just said it. My favorite that I've done since the last 50 episodes is Randy Kraft, which was literally last week's episode. And I know that's fucking boring. It's episode 99. But listen to me. Listen to me. Y'all know, if you listened to our episode last week, you fucking heard me say multiple times, I don't know why this guy hasn't been popular. I don't know why people don't know who he is. I don't know why he's not studied. I don't know why he's not up there with all the serial killers like Dahmer and Bundy and Manson. Like, I don't understand, right? Which Manson is a whole nother thing. I don't know if I consider him a serial killer because he didn't actually kill people. But my point is that he is my favorite because, number one, Randy Kraft killed a lot of people and did it for a long period of time and got away with it. Number two, he is not that serial killer who has the typical background of a serial killer. We always think he is the reason why we can't go out and predict who a serial killer is. He is the reason why psychologists cannot say, oh yeah, you've got the precursors of a serial killer, so you're going to turn into a serial killer.
Well, he's the reason why criminal psychologists get into the field is because of people like him.
Right. But what bothers me is he is still alive. Why are we not utilizing him? Why are we not studying him? Why are we not having a criminal psychologist form a relationship with him so that he be willing to discuss his life, his past, his feelings, maybe why he thinks he kills? Why does,
well, maybe they have, and he shuts it down.
Okay, maybe that's true. But Ted Bundy was willing to talk before he died. Ed Kemper was absolutely willing to talk about shit. Ed Kemper would help them try to catch other serial killers. What I want to know about Randy is what happened. And I understand that he had the injury to his head and shit when he was a kid. But what happened? And again, his MO of people, all similar. He has those things, but he most definitely was not, like, the fact that he went 10 years without getting caught. And not just 10 years without getting caught, 10 years without them even thinking for a second that he could be, like, he wasn't on their radar, really?
Well, I think part of it is, like, when I look at the other ones, like you had mentioned with, like, Ed Kemper and Dahmer and all those other guys, I feel like they wanted to be in the spotlight. Kemper, especially after they got caught, like, they wanted to show how smart they were and stuff like that. I think with Randy Kraft,
the scorecard killer,
I feel like he didn't want any part of that. So he is like the scariest serial killer because he didn't want the recognition. I think if people came out and would have took claim for his kills, I don't know if he would have had a problem with it.
I don't know. Well, and I will say this, Ed Kemper, we haven't done Ed Kemper yet. I'm very excited for the day that I pull Ed Kemper, but
yeah, well, whenever you do that, it'll probably be like one of my favorites. So.
Ed Kemper.
Wait for episode 150.
If I'm not mistaken, Ed Kemper turned himself in. And if I'm not mistaken with Ed Kemper, he wasn't doing this because he wanted the recognition. He hated the fact that he killed people. Genuinely. He was that serial killer that was like, I fucking can't control it. Like, I don't know what to tell you. He suffered a really bad childhood too, though, where it's like, for me, that's why I'm so fascinated with Randy Kraft. And that's the same reason that I'm fascinated with Ted Bundy. They're charming. They're charismatic. People like them. They think they're nice. Nothing about them is creepy. They didn't have bad childhoods, but yet here they are, the worst of the worst humans. And it's like, okay, so you were born shitty. Okay, that's fine. But, like, what makes you think that it was okay to kill people? What drives you? What is there for him? Was it a release? Was it sadist? Was it sadism? Was it because you got a thrill out of it? Was it because you just like killing for fun? Like, what is the reason behind all these kills? Because again, 60 something people he killed. That's a lot of people. And the fact that he is not on our radar of like well-known serial killers blows my mind. Like Manson is over here, like everybody knows who fucking Charles Manson is. Everybody. Like everybody in the world, you say Charles Manson, like, oh yeah, he's a serial killer. But he didn't kill anybody. He had people kill for him, and they only killed like in groups, right? But they only killed twice before he was caught. So it's like, okay, so you have Marilyn Manson. I always say Marilyn Manson. You have Charles Manson, who is like not even a really big serial killer, and he is all over the place when it comes to serial killers.
But we've talked about it, and you even admit he would have probably got you.
Oh, I would have fallen for Manson big time.
So that's how you can tell the difference between T and myself when it comes to how we look at serial killers.
I would have fallen under Manson's spell big time because he was charming. And I've put myself like in the shoes of like, I was not alive in the 70s, but if I was in the 70s, 60s and 70s and I would have met him on the side of the road, he would have been my friend and I would have absolutely joined his compound. I absolutely know that. I 100% know that because when I watched the movie about him and one of the movies about Manson, I actually found myself going, I mean, he seems kind of cool. You know, I could probably, I could totally have, I could fucking see myself living that life. I genuinely 100%. So thank God I found Jay or else I would have been one of Manson's, friends. But yeah, so Randy Kraft, again, episode 99. So if you didn't listen to last week's episode, I really highly recommend you do because he's intriguing. He takes my brain and twists it into all kinds of knots. And he is actually the reason why I regret not going into criminal psychology like I wanted to. He's one of the reasons. When I was in school for psychology, I was going to be a criminal psychologist. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be somebody who would sit down with murderers, serial killers in particular, and talk to them, form relationships with them, find out why they do what they do, try to maybe work with the FBI for profiling. Like I find FBI profiling fucking fascinating. The reason I did not is because when I was in school, I was told that if you have family, you probably shouldn't be in the realm of psychology with murderers because they will find out essentially who your family is. And if you ever piss them off or wrong them, they'll come after your family. So I chose not to do that. To this day, I sometimes wish that I had done that because doing the podcast just intrigues my brain, but I don't have all the schooling and knowledge of somebody that's a criminal psychologist. And so it's like, man, I just wish I had that knowledge so I could analyze. I love analyzing a serial killer's brain. And if I could, I would sit down one-on-one with serial killers and just talk to them. I would literally, and I thought the same thing. So when I switched from criminal psychology, I switched to the idea that I wanted to work with juvenile delinquents.
But again, here's the problem. You'd sit down and talk to them, you'd get under their spell, and you'd walk out and start shanking people.
No.
Probably not a good reason to do it.
No, not all serial killers are like Manson.
I'm just saying.
Okay, not all. But I mean, I've always had a piece of me that feels like, I don't know, maybe I'm sociopathic. I don't fucking know. I've always had a piece of me where I feel like I want to get to the bottom of criminals. It's not just serial killers. I wanted to work with juvenile delinquents because I wanted to try to help them have a better life when they were in juvie. Sit down, talk to them, figure out how they can get out of whatever they're in and put them on the right path. I can't put a serial killer on the right path, but I wanted to get to know them. That is why one of my most favorite shows ever that I've watched to this day is Mindhunter, because that would have been me if I could do it.
Yeah.
Which is about criminal FBI profilers. Anyways, so yes, so my most favorite episode, I know, again, I'm sorry because it's really shitty that it was literally last week's episode, but it was last week, episode 99, Randy Kraft, and my biggest reason why is that he legit mystifies me.
Well, we're going to hit him with two shitty good ones because, like I said, the reason for
shitty good ones?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The reason for my good one, because you said it's shitty because it was just the last episode.
Oh, God. Did you do Randy Kraft too?
No. But like I said, for the reason why we do these podcasts is one, so T doesn't look suspicious looking up serial killers all the time just for fun. She wanted to be able to do something with that.
Because I asked for serial killer encyclopedias for Christmas, and I had no podcasts.
Right. So this is an outlet for her. But as it's become, we do it for you guys. We always talk about it at the end of our podcast. Reach out, talk to us, send us a message, whatever. We've definitely got that. Some good, some not so good. You know, people have reached out and threatened to sue us and, you know, defamation of character and blah. Like, all we're doing is stating the facts that we see. We're not making up our own opinions of anything. We're just stating the facts that come on here. So that brings me to the episode.
Also, just so you know, when you threaten to sue me, all you do is make me feel good that I've reached you, because that means I'm getting bigger.
So with that, what brings me to my favorite and the reason why, it's episode 88, which is the Briley brothers.
Oh, the Briley brothers.
Briley brothers. And
oh, yeah.
the reason
You're
why
not wrong.
it was a decent episode. It was pretty good. We talked about it, but there was one individual in the episode that, you know, as we talked about it, there was always this kind of gray area, this cloud of that the person didn't do anything. And so we released the podcast, we put it out there, and somebody had reached out to us to tell us a little bit more about the individual. This person is an advocate for that individual to try to help them get out of prison because, you know, they feel he didn't do anything. And it was a really good conversation between us and this individual to make sure that the information was correct and to get to the bottom. And it was a very open, great conversation, back and forth, good attitudes. And this is the reason why we do it. This is what we like. We want people to reach out. We want people to educate us if we're wrong in something. You know, we do get the keyboard heroes that reach out. It's like, oh, you're fucking stupid. You said it wrong. Like, that doesn't help anybody, right? But having a conversation, because we have no problem coming back on in the next episode after you reach out to us and rectify anything we have wrong, right? In this case, we didn't have anything wrong. She was just saying her side of it, which we ended up agreeing with. And again, was a really good conversation. So
it opened up a good dialogue.
It did. And
if
so
you
that was the one episode that jumped out to me that was like, this is kind of wraps everything up of why we do this, right?
So you said that was episode 88?
88.
So if you remember, if you've been listening for a while, episode 89, I actually started out episode 89 making comments about this.
Correct.
And this interaction. And I'll refresh your memory really quickly. The person that she had reached out to me about is Anthony Briley, who was one of the Briley brothers. However, Anthony is currently serving time in prison. Unfortunately, they have like no legit proof that he killed anybody. And so because of that, what the advocation is for is that he needs to have a resentencing and be released from prison, because they don't actually have the amount of evidence or the type of evidence you would typically need to keep him in jail for what they're saying. They basically linked him to the crimes of his brothers. Now, his brothers did some really bad things, but he was basically found guilty by association. And I, in that episode, had even said, like, I don't know much about Anthony because there's nothing really about him. My guess is that he was just there. And genuinely, that's what I kind of feel like. I'm sure he was there. He probably stole stuff. But as far as murdering people, he didn't murder anybody. And I don't think they ever have any proof of that. And one of the things that was brought to my attention was the fact that during this time, the Briley brothers plus the one, there's 4 guys, 3 are brothers, one is like a friend of the family. They are all black men. And at the time that these crimes happened, as we still see today as well, being that they were black men, they automatically were already guilty, right? They were already kind of found guilty because of that. Just the race issue, right, became an issue. And so he was wrongfully convicted, in my opinion, based off the shit I found. I agree. I just didn't make that point very clear in that episode. And the lady who reached out to me was very pleasant, and she was very much informative. And I loved every little bit of conversation I had with her, because I was able to find out information from somebody who has a direct link to Anthony Briley, who is directly, right now advocating for him. So therefore, she has heard his story. She knows what he's saying. She knows what he's going for. And I love that. I love it when somebody comes out and tells me, even if you're an asshole, she was not, but even if you're an asshole and say you got the whole story wrong, then tell me what I got wrong and I'll 100% fix it, because I'm here to inform. And I myself, out of curiosity, I want the truth. I want the truth. I want what's going to happen. So I agree. I agree that that's a good episode, because again, we view serial killers a little differently.
I told you you'd agree after I said it.
We view our serial killers differently. You know, Jay's favorite episodes is the ones that have good things that come out of it. Having good dialogue with people who, by the way, she did become a fan of ours. She started following us after this. So having good dialogue with a fan based off of one of our episodes, and knowing that it was good dialogue and honest dialogue and no hatred, and then having me come out the next episode to verify and update what I had already kind of alluded to in the previous episode, but to not correct it, but to let you know, like, hey, I've actually been in contact now with somebody who can tell me that this is exactly correct.
And who knows, maybe in the future something like this happens and one of our listeners knows something and connect and this, that, and the other, and you know, justice is taken care of the way it should be, which would be awesome, like if that were to happen. Don't expect it to happen, but this is why we educate and share information, right?
Right.
So
right. That is actually a good episode. Like you said, it's not the episode, it's what happened afterwards, which is why when I say we talk
we'll
about
say episode 88.5.
Well, and that's why when I told Jay, like, hey, tell me what you want, you know, your favorites, he was like, they're all serial killers. I don't have a favorite.
They all suck.
I'm over here like, but you know, my brain thinks, but they're fascinating. But because there's some that we've done that I'm like, boring, like, so boring. And then there's some that are terrible that I'm like, I hate myself for even researching this. And then there's people that I'm like, holy shit, like, you are the reason I'm interested in serial killers in particular, because it's like, what makes your brain work that way? Because I can't wrap my brain around doing that. I can't wrap my brain around just killing people but I want to know why you can. I want to know.
Right.
I don't, and I know, please don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. I am not out here going, I want to know how you can do it so I can stop it in the future. No, that's not my intention. I have no intention of like learning so that I can stop in the future, because I don't work in that field.
Yeah.
But, and I truly believe there's nothing we'll ever be able to truly know about serial killers to precursor them to be serial killers. However, we do know of signs that can allude to serial killers or people who have a life of crime. And if they are intervened with at a young age and go through a bunch of therapeutic shit at a young age, sometimes you can actually change the course of their life.
Yep.
And so that's what interests me. But I like to just know. And honestly, I like to think that because of the fact that I've done so much true crime, serial killers and other, I'm a very vigilant person. I lock my door when I come inside. My door is never unlocked when I'm home, ever. My door is never unlocked. I do not answer the door to strangers, because strangers will kill you. I do not leave any part of my house unlocked while I'm home, ever. Not any door. No garage. The garage is never open. When I'm in my vehicle, once I get in the car, I lock the doors immediately. If I'm just sitting in a parking lot waiting for Jay to get out of a store, I lock the doors while he's in there. I look at my surroundings at all times. I am very vigilant, and I watch people to make sure that they're not doing something they're not supposed to do. And I don't walk. Well, I don't fucking jog anyways, but if I did jog, I wouldn't be wearing headphones, because I know that's fucking the things that literally have somebody take you.
Yep.
I also use the buddy system pretty much everywhere I go. So these are all things that I have learned myself, because the crimes and the ways that things are committed, this is what I can do. And Jay, I'm sure, has also learned. Like, Jay is somebody who carries a gun when he wants to. We have weapons in our home. I do not know how to use them, but Jay does. My honest opinion, my son has a crossbow. And we've talked about this. We have actually talked about this because Jay used to travel a lot for work, and my son was in high school, and we would have conversations about what we would do if somebody broke in, because we have guns, but we don't use them. Only Jay does. And my son, I told him we have dogs, and I'm like, well, the dogs would let us know if somebody was coming in the house. And then my response was, so this is what we ended up doing. When Jay would go out of town, my son would bring his crossbow into my bedroom and lay it on the floor next to me. And that way, if I ever got woken up in the middle of the night with my dogs barking because somebody was trying to attack, first of all, my son's a big motherfucker. And he was a big motherfucker when he was in high school. And his thing was the way his bed was set up in his room, they'd be at his feet, at the foot of his bed when they walked in the door. And I said, kick with everything you've got if somebody ever comes in your room. And he could probably, I mean, genuinely, he'll kick a hole through your chest because he's big. And then I said, and I'll come out and I'll put a fucking, what do they call him? A crossbow arrow. I'm going to put a crossbow arrow through that motherfucker's head. That's what I said. And I would do it. And
this is also coming from the lady who shot our son with an airsoft gun.
But I'd be walking
aiming for his butt to see if it would hurt and shot him in the back of the head.
That's accurate. That's why I don't use guns.
Exactly. So,
but I'm talking like if I walk up, if my son's kicking the shit out of you, I'm gonna put the crossbow to your head and pull because it's like it was a crossbow that you like pull a trigger.
But we got enough knives and stuff here too. Like,
I'm saying these are all the things. These are what I go to bed at night thinking about. If I get woken up in the middle of the night to an intruder, how am I protecting my family?
Yeah.
That's what I do. And it's because of my research that I can know. Like, I know that you fight your ass off because guess what? A lot of the people who fight their ass off, they live. They might live with injuries, but they fucking live. Or they injure the shit out of the other person and then they die and then they catch the guy anyways because what do you want? If somebody attacks you, you want their fucking blood everywhere in that house so they can get their fucking DNA.
Yeah,
that's
we
what
had
you
a couple
want.
of people on our podcast that, fought back, survived, and that's why they were
Absolutely.
caught,
So anyways, so that's it. That's our episode. This was again our 100th episode. I hope that you all enjoyed it because we just bullshitted. And you heard a lot of Jay this week because
And
he
my
had
throat
to.
hurts.
He talks. I'm not saying that he doesn't talk.
Did I pass though?
You did pass.
Hey, look at that.
You did. You obviously did a little bit of homework, so I'm proud of you.
And so if you made it this far, thank you. I appreciate it. Appreciate you. But send us a message. Let us know what your favorite was and why, and what your least favorite was and why over the last 50 episodes. We'll post this up on, TikTok and everything else. Drop a message. Let us know.
Yeah, and at the bottom of this page, our show notes, as always, will show all of our social medias and our emails. So if you are not somebody who likes the socials, because a lot of people don't like them now, and you still want to voice your opinion, email us.
Yup.
That email comes straight to my phone, and I most definitely get the emails. And I'm hoping for those of you who have reached out and said, oh my gosh, I love what you guys talk about. I hope this episode was just as exciting as when we talk about serial killers. You were supposed to chime in with
Serial killer.
You are such a loser. Why don't you ever just do it with me?
Being married's awesome.
Gosh. Anyways, yes, once again, thank you so much first of all, for sticking with us through 100 episodes.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of episodes. I mean, that's just shy of 2 years, and that is of you guys allowing me to do 100 episodes. That means 100 people I've been allowed to research and not look like a freaking weirdo.
Yep. And there will be a lot more coming after this.
I appreciate you. Jay appreciates you. And look forward to even more serial killer talk over the next 100 episodes. Well, I guess next 50 episodes.
Yep.
Other than that, I just want to say one more time from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for listening to Jay and I chit chat with you about our favorite and least favorite serial killers. Until next week, goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Remember to lock your doors and bar your windows. Until next time.